Hello and welcome to Georgia Bulldogs Live here on the Georgia Voice of College Football. I am one of your co-hosts, Matt Green. My other co-host over there, Bo Underwood. Bo, how you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. I spent an untold amount of money today trying to get my brother's car unlocked after I was at the gym. But other than that, it's been a good day.
Yeah, you had to, would you
Yeah.
call a locksmith or?
My brother's car doesn't if you lock it, it's like the lock is messed up and it doesn't unlock. And I didn't know that. Neither of them told me that. I have two brothers. And so my car's in the shop and they're gone. So I was just driving their car and I was at the gym and I locked the door and I went back to get my water bottle because I left it and it just didn't open. So that was the whole
What kind of car is this?
It's a 2007 Honda Accord.
That makes sense. I was thinking, can you even lock yourself out of cars anymore?
Usually not, but it's fine. We got it unlocked and I'm home safe now. So it's all good, man.
Nice. Honda Accord, quality vehicle. I drove a 98 Accord. That was my first car, maybe dating myself a little bit, but it was an old car when I got it.
I drive a 99 4Runner right now, so you're not that old.
Hey, 4Runners though, there's like a culture around 4Runners. I feel like those things last forever.
Toyotas just do, man.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I got myself a nice Camry. I was driving like a 92 Camry. That was an accident. That was like 2018. Got in a car accident. Story for another day. But ever since that, I stayed safe in the Camry. So it's like I'm a Camry man from there on out.
Let's go places.
There's your Toyota ad to start the show. But yeah, it's busy week here for the off season for the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll get to one thing I'll say. You said you got two brothers, so you're one of three brothers. Is that right? You got a sister?
No, it's me and then my brothers are twins. They're 3 years younger than me.
Okay. I was gonna see if we had something in common, but the third one is the best.
You got two brothers and one sister?
No, the third one, I have two brothers, but the third child is always the best one. So I don't know. I hate to break that to you. I don't know how that works in your family. Is there a third child? It's
not really
first and a tie for second.
It's kind of just one. I'm one, and then there's 2A and 2B.
There you go. That's funny. Three boys though. There you go. Represent.
That's right. Man.
But yeah, man, it's for those of you tuning in live, I appreciate it. We come to you every week. Next week, we actually have a special edition. We're going to do a little crossover episode with our folks with the Texas Longhorns. They're just eager to get beat by the Georgia Bulldogs for a third time, and they want to talk about it. Coming to Athens this time, so it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, next Tuesday at 8:00, tune in live.
Be there.
With Matt Miller, and I know he has a co-host now. Last time I talked to him, he was running that show solo, but now he's got a co-host. But we'll have the four of us on talking Georgia and Texas and everything next week, and get to know your foe, that sort of thing. But yeah, this should be a lot of fun. But appreciate everyone tuning in live. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. I don't know if the observant listeners of YouTube viewers noticed, we are 67 days till college football season, and 67, not the sexiest number in college football. No disrespect to I think the first one I thought it was Chester Adams. I don't know if that's ahead of your time. It's like 2008, 2009-ish. You remember Chester Adams?
About it earlier today, and I was like, man, I guess I'm just showing I don't know anything about what I'm talking about, but I could not think of a single number 67, man. I had to Google it.
I did Google one, Sam Madden from a couple years ago. That was a Kirby guy. I think he was a big-time. Was he a big-time recruiter? I'm confusing him with someone else. But I don't think he ever played offensive lineman. A few years back. I know he was on the 2017 roster. Not sure what year he was coming out. But like I said, with number 67, we decided to split it up with the Georgia corner duo, number 6 and number 7. Dalen Everett and Daniel Harris. So they should be locking down the secondary the secondary this year with number 67, with number 6 and number 7. But so I guess to answer my first question, you already did. You don't have any number 67s to come up with.
I
Shout
don't.
out to Chester Adams though, because I
Yes.
did think of that right off the top of my head. I'm not sure why,
Well,
but
no.
I don't know why my mind
No.
remembers half the stuff it remembers.
Shout out to Chester, man. I got to do my homework. I got to do my research.
And I think he may have started for a year. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure. I think it was an interior offensive lineman.
There was a guy that I Googled today because let me see. Oh, I don't have it pulled up anymore. But there was a guy that I Googled because I Googled like Georgia number 67, and it was another blog that's, doing the same thing that we do. Yeah, it was Rivals.
Okay.
And so okay, here, I'm not taking any credit for this. I learned about this guy today, but I would like to give him a shout out because he seems pretty cool. Joel Parrish, out of Douglas, Georgia, Coffee County, played offensive guard at Georgia from 1974 to 1976. And let me read you this. Let me read you this first sentence, Matt. It was said that Joel Parrish arrived at UGA in 1973 in a pickup truck, a mouthful of red men, and wearing a 10-gallon hat and cowboy boots, not cat. Yeah, he was a preseason All-American in 1976, SEC Lineman of the Year, and he played in the CFL for a little bit. So,
oh, nice.
Oh, yes, and your boy Chester was an honorable mention, along with Jack Bush, who played in the 40s. So, there we go.
You always wonder when one of the accolades is a preseason All-American. I don't know if that year went how he wanted it to.
Actually, it says here he was a preseason All-American, and then he actually got consensus All-American that year after the season.
Oh, nice.
So he lived up to the hype.
Well, shout out to Joel Parrish.
Yeah, dude.
Best 67 Georgia's probably ever had, if that's the case, if he was an All-American.
I think we have to we got to go with that. Oh, we got Brandon in the chat. Matt said his first car was a 1992 two-door Accord. So that's kind of merging my car and your car,
Oh,
same
there we
year.
go. Appreciate you tuning in live, Brandon. 92 Honda. I'm sure that thing was very solid.
To anybody who owns a 2007 Honda Accord, make sure the lock works, or else you have to pay a lot of money to get it unlocked. I learned that today. So.
That's brutal.
Don't do that.
Also, we'll put some respect on Chester Adams' name because he was not just a guy who got a cup of coffee at Georgia. He was a 7th round draft pick. So
yeah.
He was picked by the Bears, the 222nd pick overall in the 2008 draft. So
that's a cool number.
The Laverne, Alabama native.
08 draft.
And I guess his high school football coach was Mike Dubose, the
really?
Former Alabama head coach. Apparently.
Interesting. Wait, yeah, that was his high school coach?
Yeah, I guess he was coaching in high school in the early mid 2000s. Mike Dubose, because that was Mike Dubose. I want to say he was before. Who was the guy? Was he Francione? Was that one time? Who? Mike Price was the head coach. Do you remember? Do you know anything about Mike Price?
He coached Bama. He started coaching there as their defensive coordinator or he was their D-line coach for 5 years in the 90s, it says here, and then he became their head coach in 97. And he was their coach
97. Okay. So that was why am I blanking on the coach that won a national championship in Alabama, 92? Who would that have been? You looking that up for me?
I got you.
Oh man, that's a famous coach. Why am I blanking on it right now?
Gene Stallings. Yeah.
Gene Stallings. There you go. So he was a DC for Gene Stallings and then got the Alabama job. So was he?
Gene Stallings is an underrated figure in SEC history.
Why you say that?
Well, because he won a natty at Bama and nobody cares.
That's the only modern era title they had.
It's Saban and Bear are the two legends there. I don't know why I'm going to bat for this Alabama coach right now, but I don't know.
That's funny. I don't know if you remember Mike Price. You won't find him on head coaches to coach a game at Alabama, but he was the Washington State coach. And then he was right before Mike Shula. So that would have been 01, 02 or something he was hired. And then there was pictures of him partying with co-eds and he got fired before he ever even coached a game. So Shout
That's
out to
awesome.
Mike Price's era at Alabama.
There's nothing like a good college coaching scandal, man.
Which I need to know more about it. When I was 11, 12 years old, it was like, oh, he's partying with co-eds. Yeah, fire him. This guy, that's inappropriate. But now I'm like, well, what did he do something wrong? Did he well, I need more information. Was he just having a good time?
God forbid he hangs out and has a good time.
Yeah, with the student body and with consenting adults. Who knows what he's doing? I'm not gonna judge Mike Price, but I don't know the details. Maybe he's doing something terrible.
We're joking.
Yeah, right. Before we find out that he did something awful. Yeah, we have no idea. I don't know the details. But yeah, so 6 and 7 will not be on our countdown because of just where it lines up in the days and when we do the show. I was thinking of a couple of my favorite 6s and 7s.
All right, I'm with that. I got a very easy answer for my favorite number 7 of all time.
Oh, okay. Let's start with 6. Let's start chronologically. I think Sean Jones. Oh, we lost one. Sean Jones is the best number 6 I can think of. The All-American safety from Georgia. I think Georgia actually had a stretch. You can fact check this if you want to. Our listeners can fact check this. Georgia had a stretch of 3 straight years with an All-American safety, three different guys. And I don't know if anyone's ever done that. Sean Jones in 2003, Thomas Davis 2004, and then Greg Blue 2005. I don't know if anyone's ever had 3 different safeties be first team All-American 3 years in a row. That's
actually nuts. I mean, funny, I feel like the closest they might ever come to that is like right now with Starks going into KJ Bolden, but man,
Sean Jones, do you have memory of the 2003 Tennessee game by any chance?
I was born in 2003.
Great all-time UGA moment. I don't know the exact score. I want to say it was 10-3.
That's not Hobnail Boot, is it?
It's not Hobnail Boot.
Okay.
Would have been the next game in Knoxville after the Hobnail Boot. I want to say it was 10-3, like 10 seconds left in the first half or something. Tennessee's on the goal line, like trying to score, and then they fumble it. Sean Jones takes it like 95 yards for a touchdown, and then just the surrender cobras all around. It was great stuff. I think Georgia won. I want to say Georgia ended up winning that 41-14. It was just an absolute blowout. Georgia had a nice little winning streak in Knoxville, I think, there for a little bit.
I think a goal line fumble into a defensive touchdown is like the most traumatizing play that you can have happen.
It really is. Just a 14-point swing, just like that.
You remember when Damian Swan did that against Georgia Tech?
Damian Swan.
They ran like a quarterback sneak. This was the game that Tech won. It was the
so that's Harrison probably Butker. 2014.
Yeah,
the Harrison Butker one.
But yeah, Tech ran like a quarterback sneak with Justin Thomas, and like he fumbled it at the 1, and then Damian Swan just cribbed it. And like,
wow,
it was kind of a bad call. Like his forward progress was definitely stopped, but the rest were like, no, it stands, so it counted. It was awesome.
Oh, was it? That's funny because 2006 against Georgia Tech 2 with Tony Taylor, it was like a weird like fumble, like a pile, but I guess no one was really on the ball, and Tony Taylor just kind of jerked the ball out of there and then ran like 40 yards for a touchdown.
It's like so funny when it happens, but it also just makes you so mad if you're on the other end.
Tony Taylor, amazing 2006 senior year he had. I think he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns that year. Leonard Floyd also had like 100 yards.
Yeah, he did.
Recovery in Knoxville too.
That was sick, dude. That Leonard Floyd play was awesome.
Yeah, and that's Georgia lost that game too, right? Is that the one?
Yeah, they did.
That's the Grayson Lambert, Reggie Davis game we were talking about a couple weeks ago.
Drop game, yeah.
Also, like we said, Reggie Davis's best game of his career.
We were talking about Reggie Davis last time we were on here. That's right, we were.
Yeah. But yeah, I had Sean Jones, Javon Wims, and Kenny McIntosh were the first 3 I thought of off the top of my head. Who do you have at 6?
I was gonna go with Javon Wims and Kenny McIntosh as well. So let me think of another number 6.
There's also a cheeky one. A guy who started as number 6, but
what was Natrez Patrick number 6?
Natrez Patrick was number 6.
Okay,
that was a solid. Pull.
I would like my number 6 shout out to officially be Mr. Natrez Patrick.
Natrez Patrick. Okay.
I just remember checking my phone every 2 weeks, seeing that he had been suspended for
Oh,
something.
is that right?
I swear in a like he was a good player, a very solid off-ball linebacker. From if my memory serves me correctly, but I just remember that guy got suspended all the time. Like maybe I'm just exaggerating, but I swear it happened at least like 3 times. He got suspended for like weed.
That'll
But
happen. Was he was an Atlanta guy, right? Is he Mays, I want to say?
I think,
Patrick?
yeah, I know he's from Atlanta.
Yeah, Mays High School, Natrez Patrick. You're an Atlanta guy. Is Mays
Yeah,
a rival for you?
I went to North Atlanta. So actually funny enough, when I was in high school, our head coach who led us to the playoffs for the first time in like 20 years immediately left after the season to go coach at Mays. So we all had beef with Mays after that.
Ah, okay. And then James Cook also started as number.
Oh, Jay, yeah, he did.
6.
He was wearing number 6 before. That's right. I'm trying to think of who else would be number 6 on defense. Are there any other DBs from like the Richt era?
There's gotta be. I was trying to think of some 6s. I was struggling to think of any, but Craig Lumpkin was a big time recruit. He's fine Georgia career, but not. He was like the number 1 running back in the country, I think, coming out of Stevenson back in like 04, 03, 04 or something.
Shout out to JID.
And my high school actually played Stevenson that year. Upset them actually. They had Craig Lumpkin and Reggie Ball.
Wait,
they were pretty big time.
You might have been in high school. This is a completely other aside. You might have played against one of my favorite rappers. There's a rapper named Jid or JID who played football for Stevenson. Like,
okay.
And he's around your age. So I think you probably played against him.
Maybe. I personally did not play against him, but North Gwinnett may have.
He has an album coming out in a month or 2. I'm very excited for it. But anyway, that's
okay. Shout out to JID.
Yes. Shout out to JID. Atlanta.
But 7, I feel like 7's one of the more loaded numbers.
Yes.
We could probably name a bunch of number 7s. But who's your number 7?
This is what I was getting. This is my favorite football player of all time. This is a signed mini helmet, Detroit Lions mini helmet, and football card from my GOAT, Matthew Stafford. And I did not buy these. I went to his church league basketball game when I was 11, and I got him to sign my helmet and my card. Matthew Stafford is an easy pick for me because that's the first Georgia player I really remember being like a fan of as a little kid. I was like 5 or 6, and I was like, Matthew Stafford's my favorite player. And then when he went to the NFL, not right off the rip because I was like 6 when he got drafted, but I got in the NFL when I was probably 9 or 10, and I wanted to be different from all the other kids that I knew. So I was like, I'm not going to be a Falcons fan. And so I picked the Lions because they had Matthew Stafford. And I'm a pretty huge Lions fan. There's a Lions pennant over there. It was a terrible idea to become a Lions fan. I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone. But for that reason alone, I got to go. I mean, Matthew Stafford is like, yeah, I definitely have a much greater relationship with his Lions career than his Georgia career, just because I used to just tune in and watch it every week. But yeah, that's easily my favorite number 7. Shout out.
Yeah, honestly, an underrated Georgia career. I feel like a lot was put on him just because he's the number 1 quarterback and all that. And then like the number 1 preseason number 1 ranking in 2008. Like I feel like Stafford and that group kind of gets. They act like they were terrible in 2008. It's like we went like 10-3. Like, yeah, we were preseason number 1. We weren't that good, but an all-time great Florida team. We won't talk about that though. But yeah, Stafford's like the first one I think of for sure. And that's like when recruiting started to get really, really big too, like scout.com and stuff and ESPN's rankings. So like, I feel like Stafford was like that first like superstar recruit we landed like when I was a fan.
Yeah.
At least that I can remember. So yeah, I'm kind of right there in the similar boat with you. I thought you were going to pull out DeAndre Swift.
Oh,
the Lions stuff.
Well, that's the thing. DeAndre Swift is almost the opposite of Matthew Stafford for me, because Matthew Stafford, I have bits and pieces of his college career in my memory where, and I go and watch highlights or whatever. But like his NFL career is where I really became like a diehard Matthew Stafford / Detroit Lions fan. DeAndre Swift, complete opposite. I loved him at Georgia. He was so sick. I mean, how could you like? He was one of the coolest running backs ever. That one cut dead leg Moody he had was just
Yes.
awesome. So I was
Ask any Auburn defensive back. Man, I
yeah,
don't know
dude,
how many times he
seriously.
broke off Auburn. Like
Oh
Auburn
my
defensive
goodness.
backs were not capable of tackling DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, man. So I was over the moon when the Lions drafted him, of course. I was like, yes, like let's go. You got one of my favorite players. But he was really bad in the NFL, and he really used to get on my nerves because he would just waste so much movement at the line of scrimmage. I feel like he got addicted to like the juke move and making people miss to the point where it was making him a worse runner. So like I love DeAndre Swift at Georgia, but he's one of the more frustrating Lions running backs I've seen. But he's made a lot of money in the NFL, so shout out to DeAndre Swift. And
Yeah,
yes,
I won't stand for DeAndre Swift
he was
slander
freaking
right
electric in
there.
college.
I just remember, like you said, cool too. Like he, like that, like there was obviously Georgia running backs that were better than DeAndre Swift, but I don't think there was anyone cooler. Like
No,
I remember in the recruiting process.
His name is DeAndre Swift.
Thank you. That's literally what I was about to say. I
coolest
remember in
name
the
ever.
recruiting process, there's a running back from Philly named DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we got to get
You
this
get
guy.
it. What? Send the house. Like,
Yes, exactly. And then I like to take personal credit along with 93,000 of my closest friends at G Day. Kirby Smart called on us. He said, we gotta pack this thing out, folks. And DeAndre Swift basically said that's why he committed to Georgia, is because of how packed
that's
that
right.
spring game was.
He was there. Yeah.
And his commitment video was super cool, running through Philly and all that.
It was kind of cool when the Lions traded him. They traded him back to the Eagles, and I was like, all right, that's cool. Like,
and he had such a good year with Philly, but Jalen Hurts is taking all his touchdowns, man. That's garbage. Didn't have the Saquon year, but no. Yeah, that's probably the best year of his NFL career, though, right? That year in Philly.
I mean, he was. Yeah, it definitely was. I think he ran for 1,000 yards, but you he was running behind the best O-line in the league, and then the next year the Eagles signed a running back who actually is like insanely talented, and then Saquon might have just had the best season of running backs like ever had, at least since that one Adrian Peterson year. But yeah, dude, if I talk
without a doubt, like
I'm just gonna get mad.
Total package wise, it really was like the greatest. And maybe go back to Terrell Davis or something. He won. He had a 2,000-yard season where he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude. Terrell
was
Davis.
he NFL MVP one of those years? Terrell Davis.
He was NFL MVP for a year.
Yeah, that dude really got to the Hall of Fame on like 4 good seasons. Shout out to TD.
He deserves it though. I mean, that might be it. You might have another answer for this, but I think is Terrell Davis the obvious answer for like biggest discrepancy between how good he was in college versus how good he was in the NFL? Because he's literally one of the best NFL running backs of all time. But he doesn't.
Yeah, honestly. That's a good call. I was actually 30 the one year I played football because of Terrell Davis. That was my guy back in the day. The first one that comes to mind, this is gonna be disrespectful to what he did in college, but like Geno Atkins, I feel like Geno Atkins was like
he was
like a 10-time Pro Bowler or something. He was like insanely good. I never thought he was gonna be that, but I mean, I think he was like a second, third round pick.
You know who another answer might be? Justin Houston. Because Justin had like 22 sacks one year for the Chiefs. Like, that's
Justin Houston. But obviously, those guys were good in college as well. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think Justin Houston was like the highest paid NFL defensive player of all time for a period there, right?
It was.
But yeah, the other 7s, and we're making those really stretch out. But I had Quay Walker on there, Orson Charles, if you go back a little bit. And for whatever reason, I don't know. You see those memes people talk about, like there is no love like a 12-year-old's love of like some random athlete, you know? It's like Bruce Thornton. I don't know why. Number 7 corner, like early 2000s. I loved Bruce Thornton for some reason. I think it was his half sleeves. He rocked like the half sleeves and gloves. I don't know. That Florida State Sugar Bowl, he had like the taped up face mask and stuff. I don't know what it was. Bruce Thornton, huge Bruce Thornton fan.
A good DB aesthetic is always gonna be sick.
Absolutely. Any other 7s for you? Well, let's move on.
I think we hit all the good ones, or all the major ones, I should say, because I mean there's a number 7 like every year. Yeah, I think that's all I really. I mean, Lawson Lucky, got to give him a shout out. I mean, coolest.
There you go.
Coolest
Jermaine Burton
combination in football history. Lucky 7. Like, how do you not shout him out?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure I ever even put that together until you just mentioned that just now. Lucky number 7. That's
cool.
that is awesome. 67 days, sir. We're getting there. Oh,
That's
6s and 7s.
basically.
I actually looked this up before we started the show because I was like, 6s and 7s. Is that like an expression? It's in an Austin Powers skit. I don't know if you remember. It's in the 3rd movie where him and his dad.
That's when
Him
I
and his
seen
dad are like just talking gibberish, like Brit, and there's like subtitles when they're speaking English, but there's subtitles because they're just talking like crazy
so
British slang. And it says all 6s and 7s, some shat on a turtle. I don't know if you remember that, but
dude, I haven't. That's the one that has Beyonce, right?
Yeah.
I haven't. I watched the first 2 like all the time, but I haven't watched that one in a while. I should.
Yeah, it's a quality trilogy. The really Austin Powers ones, but I looked up 6s and 7s just to confirm this, and we'll segue here to our next segment, sir. At 6s and 7s is an English idiom used to describe a condition of confusion or disarray. So, who on this 2025 Georgia football team causes the most confusion and disarray for, however you want to interpret that, for opposing defenses or opposing offenses or maybe just with the current roster? I don't know. Maybe who knows? Who do you have for that?
Guy in the locker room.
Yeah, he's just a wild guy confusing people all the time. I don't know.
Who is going to put a defense in a pure state of confusion and disarray? I think my answer is Zachariah Branch on the offense. I think his ability to hit his top speed, just the instincts he has when the ball is in his hands. He has a natural burst and athleticism that is really, really rare, and it's gonna be kind of confusing for defenses. It might put them in a state of disarray trying to guard Zachariah Branch on a comeback route or trying to figure out where he's gonna take a punt return. I think on the offensive side of the ball, that's what I'd have to go with. But who are you?
That's a good call. And I think especially like how like this description of just like I'm sure he's gonna be lined up in different places, be lined up in the backfield or something, getting jet sweeps or maybe some carries here and there, screen passes. We know Bobo loves a good screen pass. And I think, like you said, he's just a playmaker, dynamic playmaker. The first one I thought of, I think Jalen Walker would probably be a guy that would describe this. Well, hold on now. Because it's like you don't know where he's coming. You're always going to line up, but he's just making stuff happen. I think that's what Chris Cole is going to be this year. I think Chris Cole is going to be that guy. You can line up inside, outside. He's just a football player, and he's gonna cause confusion for offenses this year. Like I'm really excited to see this guy on the field. Also, upgraded to the single digit, number 9 this year. That's huge.
18 is a good number, but 9 is solid.
Not that Justin Williams can't be a playmaker at 19 or anything, but I love seeing number 9.
A playmaker at Georgia would never wear number 19.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. I think Chris Cole definitely has the potential to be like the biggest like chess piece on the defense, like you're saying. His background at safety, I think, gives him a bit of positional versatility that like not a lot of guys with his athletic pedigree have. So I'm with you, man. I think Chris Cole might either Chris Cole or obviously KJ Bolden are probably the 2 players I'm most anticipating to see this year because I think that leap can really happen with him.
I think so. And then the other one I wrote down, just because I think he's just such a big X factor for Georgia and the nature of the position, is Elo Mendoza. I think if he's a big time pass rusher, I think that could just be huge for Georgia's defense.
He could change the whole defense.
For sure.
There might not be a player with more riding on. I mean, other than I guess you could say the starting quarterback. I don't know if there's a player with more riding on their performance this year than Elo Mendoza. Not because of him individually, but it's like he's gonna either be the reason that Georgia's pass rushing group is salvageable or completely non-existent.
Yeah, it's like Georgia could have, if Georgia doesn't have much of a pass rush, they could have the 4th or 5th best defense in the SEC or something and be fine. But
Yeah.
if this guy is a 10 sack kind of guy that like gives Georgia a legitimate pass rush, then I think it increases the ceiling of what the defense can be for sure.
I agree. Please be
But
good.
I think the most important thing going on right now, sir, is just this recruiting trail.
Oh,
We
man.
unfortunately we missed our show last week, but we're back with the people.
Back.
So we just gotta go through the commitments since our last show on June 10th.
Kamari Brooks.
Yeah, we'll get to him. He's way down this list. We got Zyke Helton, the interior offensive lineman on 6'11". Wade Register, the punter on 6'11". I'm gonna butcher this name. Haran Zurakat, the kicker commit we got on 6'12".
Oh yeah, that's right. They got a kicker.
Caden Harris, the Vanderbilt top 100 corner that flipped on the 14th. I think probably you might have a different opinion. I think the biggest commit that we've gotten over this last few days or this last week or so is Akine Egboko on the 18th to just get a big time offensive lineman like that. Because and I'll let you speak to if you have anything to say, but I feel like that's what Georgia's kind of been missing the last couple years is some of those like just high end offensive linemen. Like that's what Georgia was built on under Kirby Smart with Sam Pittman, the Andrew Thomases, the Isaiah Wilsons, Marius Mims, Broderick Jones, those just freak athletes at the tackle positions. And he's not a 5-star. He's kind of in that almost 4.5 star kind of range.
Yeah, I mean he's
like the top 40, top 50 player. They're essentially they're right up there. And so I feel like Georgia's got to get back to getting the big time offense. Like missed out on a guy like Jackson Cantwell. Like you gotta, it all starts in the trenches, man. You got to get big time offensive linemen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you really can't have anything if you don't have an offensive line. I mean, like you can overcome it a little bit, but I mean, especially in the SEC, if you can't block guys and you can't run the ball, you can't throw the ball, you're kind of dead. So it's always good. I mean, Georgia's always been pretty good about prioritizing offensive line recruits. This is a good consolation prize. I'm not going to call a 4-star recruiter consolation prize. Let me stop myself. That's disgusting. But for a team that missed out on Jackson Cantwell, this is pretty good.
Without a doubt. For missing out on the number 1 offensive tackle in the country.
Got another top 40 guy at the position. I mean, he's the number 3 tackle. So
yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah.
And then Shadarius Tootle, the Auburn commit, flipped on the 22nd. And then your boy, who you want to talk about from North Oconee.
Yeah.
The pass rusher. I feel like if there is a 4-star, like top 100, top 200 player that's that close to the city of Athens, like we got to snag that guy. And we did. We got Kamari Brooks on the 23rd.
Yeah. I've been a fan of Kamari Brooks for a while. My experience working for the Red and Black and when I was a student at Georgia, we had kids who would like go cover North Oconee football sometimes or North Oconee basketball. So I've been hearing about him for a while, even beyond his whether or not he's going to go to Georgia. I've just been hearing this is a local kid who's insane and you need to hear about him. He was like their best basketball player. He was their best receiving option he was an elite tight end for them. But this kid is an insane athlete. He's going to come to Georgia and play the edge. He converts speed into power insanely quickly. I mean, he has a basketball player build, but he's incredibly strong. I think this guy is kind of a freak, and I've been hoping he would end up at Georgia for a while. It was kind of scaring me that he was taking so long to commit there when he's from their backyard, but I was super stoked about this. This is one of my guys. I think he has the chance to be a really impactful edge guy for Georgia. He just, I know everyone who commits to Georgia is a different type of athlete, but I really feel like his resume kind of speaks for itself as just he's a freak. And North Oconee was ridiculous every year he was there.
And that kind of frame you're talking about, like 6'4", 220, like he's going to probably be 240,
gonna
250
get
by the
bigger,
time he sees the field at Georgia. I love those kind of athletes
Mhm.
that, you know, that they'll put weight on.
Yeah.
And I love seeing a basketball player too.
Mhm.
Like, as soon as like Ja Jackson, like once he committed,
Yeah.
like the first thing I did was watch his basketball. Obviously, there was no football tape, right?
Mhm.
Watch his basketball tape, and I was like, this dude, what is he, 6'10",
Mhm.
3-something, 330, and he's athletic. That dude can move.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him too.
Yeah, man. I was very, very glad to get the news that Kamari Brooks committed to Georgia.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure. And like we were talking about Georgia's pass rush, like that's a position of need for sure. Also, a guy we left out, you know, speaking of a single digit number upgrade, Gabe Harris, number 0 this year. Who knows what he could be? Number 0, I like it.
That's another guy who it's like, dude, like you have to be a plus starter for this defense to function.
Yeah.
Gabe Harris cannot be a guy that's like, you know, falling out of the rotation by week 3. If that happens, there's gonna be something very wrong. I have no idea how good Gabe Harris actually is. I don't think any of us really
think
do.
he was I think Gabe Harris got a bad influence of Jarvis Jones with number 29. Jarvis Jones, you're great, you know, but 29 is like, it's like the worst number I can think of for like a great player.
It's kind of crazy.
Jarvis Jones steered him down the wrong path.
It's kind of crazy how he was that good, how he steered him down the wrong path. Yeah, it's insane how Jarvis Jones was that good wearing such an awful number.
He really was. And a guy that they thought was medically ineligible, you know, after his time at USC, and then was honestly like the best pass rusher I think I've seen in my time as a Georgia fan. Like he just took over some games at times for Georgia. But appreciate people chiming in on the live chat.
Did we see a donation?
We did. Don the Diesel Freak.
And the Diesel Freak.
Dan the Diesel.
Thank you for the donation.
Yes, sir. Chiming in the super chat. How's it going, Bulldog Country? We appreciate Dan the Diesel Freak chiming in.
First donation.
Also, Brandon Potter, KJ Bolden is the biggest
ish talker on the team.
Ish talker. Well done.
I want to believe that. I always want my DBs to be the biggest ish talker on the team. So that's very good. We need to continue in the spirit of Deion Sanders as much as we possibly can. I want my DBs to be complete jerks, dude.
Absolutely. And yeah, once again, Dan, thanks for the super chat there. I'm ready for Ohio State versus Georgia in the playoffs.
Sick.
I'm ready for it too, man. I actually said this when Justin Fields transferred from Georgia to Ohio State. My quote was that if we don't ever play Justin Fields, it's our fault. Like, it's because we're not getting things done, you know, because Ohio State is going to be in those big time games. About that. And definitely panned out. But also on my I don't know, Instagram, Twitter feed this week, I saw some Stetson Bennett highlights of Ohio State that just really got me juiced. That final drive, some of the best throws I think he ever made in his time at Georgia. That seed down the middle to Bowers, just like hit a tight window, and then the pass to Kyrus Jackson to get inside the 20. Two of the most clutch throws I can remember from a Georgia quarterback. Stetson Bennett, two-time national champion. But yeah, once again, Dan, I hope you're right. I hope Georgia gets to face Ohio State, because I think if Georgia plays Ohio State this year, they're at worst in the final 8. You know, maybe the final 4, maybe it's the national championship game. So
I just thought about having to guard Jeremiah Smith, and I got to chill up my spine.
Well, luckily you don't have to guard him. So, well,
but like if I'm watching that game, it's going to take the brain power of every Georgia fan watching to somehow like put the energy out in the universe that will make Jeremiah Smith not have 200 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns, because he tends to do that.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's like, or if he doesn't, it's because we got 2 or 3 guys on him and someone else is having a big day.
That's
Jeremiah Smith really is
being insane.
I mean, he's like the most unguardable receiver I've seen in a few years.
I really like he's literally teenage Julio. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No doubt about that. And let's try to get past Ryan Williams first, and maybe that'll prepare us for Jeremiah Smith. Maybe
Ryan Williams is another guy who I watched the game against Alabama this year, and I left it being convinced he was the best receiver in the country. And then I watched Jeremiah Smith later that year, and I was like, wait, no, that's the best receiver in the country.
Well, and I had a much worse take coming out of that Alabama game because I had talked a lot of shit about Jalen Milroe for about 2 years. And after watching that game, I was like, okay, maybe Jalen Milroe is the best player in college football. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
That wasn't even the first time Jalen Milroe shredded Georgia. He did it.
He didn't really shred him in the SEC championship the year before, though.
Good game, though, man.
He had a good enough game to get the job done. But I feel like he looked like the Heisman Trophy winner after playing us.
Oh my god,
year.
he did, dude. No,
he never played that well again.
After that game, I remember just being up late at night thinking is Jalen Milroe going to go number one? But
yeah, honestly,
it didn't happen.
But maybe I don't know anything about.
Man,
football.
for a second there, I was like, what is going on? And then they lost to Oklahoma. But before that, dude, I was like, bro, what's going on?
Yeah, it really was. Dan, chime in again there. Dude, what do you got here, Dan? Georgia's better defensively in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State.
You might need to lay off the diesel a little bit. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know what you're trying to say. Is Georgia the best defense in the SEC?
He might be comparing Georgia's defense to that of Ohio State, which. If that's the case, they both have a lot to replace. I would say Ohio State probably is in better shape than Georgia on defense right now, but Georgia also has the chance to be kind of insane on defense this year. Again, it just all depends on if the pass rush is awake.
Yeah, and Ohio State replacing that DC as well, who moved on to Penn State, which is interesting. Very interesting move. Interesting lateral move there, going from Ohio State to Penn State. But yeah, I think Georgia's defense is such a wild card this year. It's like we've talked about it. Like it's so unproven, but there's so much talent. So it wouldn't surprise you if some of these Joseph Jonah-Ajayi and Jordan Hall and some of these former 5-stars, take the next step this year. But it's going to take some unproven guys to at this point in June, some guys we don't even know about. Something cool we don't even know about.
There's just so much projecting involved when trying to think about how good this defense. It's like, well, if this guy that we haven't seen much of is good, and it's like, yeah, he could be good. He was a freaking 5-star, but it's like you're just really going out on a limb anytime you do that,
Yeah, that's true. But staying with the recruiting, let's chime in with one of our other live chat here. Jackson Johnson, appreciate you chiming in here. Breaking news here on the show. Corey Howard, pass rusher out of Valdosta, committed to Georgia.
Baby. Yeah.
As the show started tonight.
Yeah. We were like setting up the stream.
Yeah, exactly.
I have family in Homerville, Georgia, which is I think I've told you that before, but that's right by Valdosta. Yeah. So I grew up with a deep reverence for Valdosta football. I actually have a family friend who wrote a whole book about it. It's called Must Win. It's by Drew Bear. It's a great book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think if you're from the state of Georgia, you know all about Valdosta.
Yeah. So anytime a kid from Valdosta commits, I'm just like, hell yeah, dude. We're getting.
And he's Valdosta, right?
We're getting the defensive line version of Malcolm Mitchell. This is gonna be awesome.
Oh, I had forgotten Malcolm Mitchell was a Valdosta guy.
Yes, he is.
My high school football team, or my school's high school football team, was absolutely smashed in the state championship by Lowndes. My senior year, and then I think my mom's high school. She went to Avondale, which I don't think even a school anymore. And I think they lost like 70-0 or something to Valdosta in like the state championship or something. So we have a common thread there.
Yeah, man. That's what Valdosta football does.
But yeah, 6'6", 245. He's a 3-star. And I mean, at this point in Kirby Smart recruiting, like I almost bank on the 3-stars more than the 5-stars. Like it seems like if you're good enough for Kirby, you're good enough for me.
That's what I'm thinking too. It's like, I know it's almost such an egotistical thing to be like, well, if my team thinks the 3-star is good, he's obviously good. But it really does, like, with all the resources and all the brain trust that Georgia has, like, for them to kind of go, I'm not going to say a 3-star is like, below their level or anything like that, but it's like, I do think that a 3-star for Georgia means a little bit more than it might for a 3-star committing to a less powerhousey school.
Yeah, because you just know about the evaluation. I mean, and like, not to be disrespectful, but if he is truly, like, in the composite rankings, if he is truly the 1100th best player in high school football, like, that is below Georgia standard, you know.
So
but I have a good feeling that maybe he's a little bit better than that because Kirby and the gang wants him. So but that's big too. Getting the second edge rusher of the week. So and like you said, 6'6", 245. Just that type of frame. You just love that out of your pass rushers.
Yeah, man.
So let me see here. And then this week, anything to say about anything else about the commits we've gotten so far?
Those are the ones that I really feel like I can talk about, knowing things enough. All the other guys, I'm like, I know their names, but I feel like I would be kind of just rambling on about nothing if I had to talk about each one.
But it's such a busy week. Obviously, we talked about, like, Tootle wasn't even one of those that set an announcement date. We knew about Kamari Brooks. We knew about Corey Howard, Craig Dandridge, the receiver out of Cambridge. Go ahead.
Caden Harris too committed kind of recently, didn't he?
Yeah, I said him. Do you have anything to say about him from the Vandy flip?
Hey, yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry, my fault. I completely.
No, you're good. And then tomorrow, 6:25, Craig Dandridge, the receiver out of Cambridge, is supposed to announce.
Craig Lamar, the receiver out of Cambridge.
What?
Is that what you said?
Is that incorrect?
His name rhymes with his school?
I guess it does. That's also, I heard the name Craig Dandridge, and I looked him up. I was like, is that a former player? Like, I swear I've heard that name before, but all I could find.
Dandridge sounds like an outfielder for the Mariners from, like, the 80s.
I feel like it sounds like a Falcons wide receiver from,
oh
like,
my
the
God,
80s
dude, it sounds like a Falcons player. You're right.
Craig, but I couldn't find anything. Maybe I could be wrong.
Slot receiver.
Yeah, honestly, like, he had some good him and Steve Bartkowski. They had some good years together. But I'm totally making that up. 24/7 usually has the like, if they have a sibling or something, right?
Yeah.
High school. So I don't know if he is. I'm just totally making that up that he sounds like someone. I don't see anything listed that is
I think they do. I think they do, like, include it somewhere if you're.
Yeah, so I don't see it. So I don't think he is.
He's just a good sports name is all.
Yeah, and then Jay Lamar is the running back who's supposed to announce on Thursday. Where is he from? He's not from Colquitt County, is he? Where is Jay Lamar from?
He is from Colquitt County.
He is Colquitt County. Okay. Yeah, and that's a big time top 100, top 200 guy or so. I don't know if it sounds like Georgia's not going to get Savion Hyder. Yeah, I know Derek Cooper just announced his commitment date coming up in July. I think Rusty Mansell had a post earlier today about, like, maybe Georgia's not out of this thing, but it's like that kind of, I don't know. The fact that you're saying it that way makes me think Georgia's kind of out of this thing. But so those are the two big time 5-star running backs. I don't know if Georgia will get, but I mean, Jay Lamar, they could get him.
He visited Georgia 4 days ago. He visited Miami in the middle of the month. So it's like, and Georgia's, 100% crystal ball predict, or I guess there's only one prediction, but I would have a pretty good feeling about Lamar. Other two guys, yeah, I agree. I don't think are as likely.
Yeah, and then the other ones, and then there's two on Friday. Malachi Lee, the big offensive tackle prospect out of Hawaii. I think it's like Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia.
We're doing a show for Malachi Lee, right?
Yeah, I don't know the details. I hate that you brought it up because I didn't necessarily know enough to plug it. Okay, but yeah, there's some sort of event. There's some sort of live instant reaction. We're getting together with our voice of college football guys for the Alabama and Michigan sites. I don't know if I know Texas is up there on his list.
Sure.
I don't know if they're going to join, but yeah, we'll have a little instant reaction stuff on Friday night.
That's my bad. I didn't mean to pull a Tom Holland and spoil something I wasn't supposed to.
Tom Holland.
He
That's
should do that all
funny.
the time.
But yeah, he's the other one. And there's another guy announcing on Friday too, Chase Calicut, safety. Where is he from? Is he from Georgia? I want to say he's an out-of-state guy. North Shore, is that Texas? Yeah, North Shore. That's where Zach Evans was from, right?
Oh yeah, it's in Houston. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a top 200 player as well.
Zach Evans went there. God, we don't need to talk about
Zach
that guy.
Evans, man. What could have been?
We can do the Zach Evans 20-minute foray next week.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say.
But this got me thinking, sir. So, I'm not trying. Oh, the last nuggets I had on recruiting, Vance Spafford flipped from Georgia to Miami.
Yeah, that's
and then Caden Prothrow also announced he's going to be, he's going to be announcing on July 12th is when he's committing. And he just got a Steve Wiltfong. They don't call him crystal balls on On3, but whatever they call him. But yeah, so he just got a prediction, 5-star tight end, tight end U and all that. Maybe he could be the latest to add to that just stacked tight end room that Georgia's got.
Maybe, man. I mean, they've been on a freaking roll recruiting these tight ends lately.
Yeah.
The first crazy recruit in the Kirby era was technically Nada, but I really feel like it canonically started with Darnell Washington committing. After that, they were just getting unicorns.
Yeah, that's true. People do forget how Isaac Nada was a finished product, coming out of high school. He was basically ready to play immediately.
He was a Richt guy, I think. So I don't really count.
No, he was that Jacob. He may have committed to Richt, but he was Jacob Eason's class.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
but yeah, that Kirby had to come in and solidify.
Kirby had to come in and convince all the commits to not leave. When he got hired.
That Jacob Eason recommitment was big.
That was really dramatic. I remember where I was when I got the news that he wasn't transferring.
And I was up in your neck of the woods that signing day to see Miko Hardman's commitment at Elbert County. Yeah? That was big time because it was he had all the cakes lined up. And he had 6 cakes, and Georgia wasn't one of the cakes, and so it was well, I know Georgia's in the running. What is happening here? And then so obviously he comes out. Through the flag or through the banner and everything. It was good stuff. Derek Brown later that day didn't get as good of news at Lanier High School, but you can't win them all.
Derek Brown's right.
But I had a recruiting take here for you, sir. So we went through all these commitments Georgia's gotten and all the guys that have scheduled their commitment for later in the week. And I saw this tweet from Hayes Fawcett. So I think everyone knows Hayes Fawcett. He's the one that has the graphics for all these commitments and everything. But he's not satisfied with just being the graphic guy. He wants to be the breaking news guy too, And this is where I don't know. I feel some kind of way about it. But he had a tweet saying Georgia recruiting is about to go on a heater, all caps heater. It's already been a great month for the Bulldogs, but they're about to turn it up a notch. And I don't know. I feel like he's not stealing guys' moments, but it's you made the graphic. So some guys are committing. So I don't know. I feel like we know some guys scheduled, and Hayes Fawcett's Georgia's getting some guys. So I don't know. What is your take?
Yeah. I mean, Hayes has a pretty reliable reputation for the most part, I would say at this point. You can correct me here, but I feel like he's pretty plugged in now, and I see more and more big recruitments announced by Hayes Fawcett. But also, as much as I like the guy, I've found on Twitter, I just think sometimes he will over announce stuff or over hype stuff, and it doesn't mean that Georgia's not about to get some recruits, but sometimes, man, he'll be some crazy news is about to come out. And then a 3-star will commit to, Texas Tech. And it's okay, dude. But he doesn't do that as much as maybe I'm making it sound like. So I guess what your take is that you think he's crying wolf a little bit, or that he
No,
shouldn't be doing that?
I feel like he's stealing the moment a little bit. Like he's
Yeah,
not he's
I can see
teasing
that.
it. He's not saying like, "Oh, so and so's committing to Georgia on Thursday." But it's
Yeah,
like, we know you're making the edits for these guys committing.
yeah,
And maybe he's made multiple edits for some people, and I don't know. We don't know which guys are going to commit, but it's like Georgia's going to get some commits. I know because they told me where they're committing, I don't know. Am I being a Debbie Downer here?
No, I can see how that's like stealing a guy's moment a little bit. Like that's something every high school kid dreams of, is like people caring about where I'm going to commit. Like, that's a huge feeling for a 17, 18-year-old kid to have. So like, yeah, I'm sure when it gets spoiled, they're not allowed. Like, and it's not like Fawcett is like straight up being like, this guy's going to commit here. Like, he's not going full Adam Schefter and just leaking the news early. But I kind of
Or
agree
Woj
that like,
bomb.
it might be more fun for Georgia fans who are not, maybe don't follow recruiting as closely as you and I do, to be blindsided by like, oh my gosh, like, wow, Georgia just got all these recruits. But I don't know. Are those people following Hayes Fawcett on Twitter anyway? Probably not. But
yeah, that's fair. He's trying to get clout,
yeah,
he's trying to do what he can. So I'm not trying to hate on Hayes Fawcett by any means. But and then I felt personally attacked on Twitter.
you did.
After that tweet was quote tweeted by Rusty Mansell,
Okay.
and he said Georgia is really starting to struggle with I think I wrote that down wrong. Georgia's really starting to struggle recruiting in this NIL era, is essentially what Rusty Mansell said. And I felt like Rusty was personally attacking me in my criticism of Georgia recruiting, my complaints of the NIL era. So clearly things are still pretty good.
I mean, we know for like, you can look at the numbers of like the rankings of classes Georgia has pulled in. So I don't know. I don't know if you can be like they're struggling. What is not
No, I think
struggling with
Rusty's clearly
recruiting
being
in
sarcastic. I think
okay, he was.
Rusty's
Okay,
like responding to people like me being like,
oh
I don't
yeah,
know, in the
no,
NIL
that's
era,
cool.
it's
I
like,
mean,
yeah, clearly Georgia's
because
doing okay.
NIL just makes recruiting harder for everybody. So I guess fan bases do get too tripped up in like, how is NIL going to affect my team? When it's like, really, you zoom out, it's like, well, actually, this has been horrible for everyone. And it's honestly been less horrible for you, Georgia, than it probably has been for,
exactly.
save for like two other teams.
We're just sitting here in a post Saban world, and like we're like, this is when we were supposed to be getting everybody now.
Yeah,
like what is happening? That we were supposed to be recruiting like 2011, 2012 Bama.
And it's like Georgia did win 2 championships in a row. So it's like, it's not like Georgia's like, we didn't get a chance to have a dynasty. No, we did. And they're still contenders every year. But yeah, no, I agree. It's like right when Georgia's supposed to become, the global superpower that no one can beat, they're like, actually, everyone can pay players now, not just the SEC schools in secret.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, no one's crying for Georgia in their recruiting efforts.
And nobody should be.
But it's funny because a buddy of mine, because you hear most fan takes are like parody equals good.
Right.
Everyone loves parody. Most people love parody. It's like sharing the wealth. Most people enjoy sharing the wealth, but there's some at the top that don't want to share the wealth. My buddy, who's a big Alabama fan, is like, my buddy who's a big Alabama fan was talking about. He's like, yeah, it's the parody is kind of crazy. He's like, what the hell is this about? Like, I want to go back to where there was no parody. Like, it was way better for us. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
one of the few anti-parody people I've heard out there.
As a fan, I get why you feel that way. I might not really empathize that much with you. I might not feel that bad for you, but like, I do get why. Because and also sometimes parody can go too far. Like the NBA is a great league, but they're obsessed with parity to the point where now like they've made the salary cap so restrictive that like if you pay enough money, you have to trade all your players and they take away all your draft picks. And it's like, college football also is kind of being irreversibly changed in the name of parity, so that, where it's like there are negative side effects to wanting parity, like.
Yeah, and when you're a team like Georgia, I don't know if I just lost Bo there, but when you're a team like Georgia, yeah, parity is not when you're at the top of the mountain. You don't necessarily you're not too crazy about parity. You would prefer a little bit more of the haves and the have-nots. But that
Dude,
was the last thing.
okay, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I
lost
thought
you
I
for
got
a
like
second.
booted from the stream. I'm good now.
I still don't see your video. I hear you, but I don't see it right now.
I just turned it back on mine.
Okay.
So this is the last week I'll be on this dusty MacBook Air. I've got a new computer. I just didn't get it set up for StreamYard in time for today.
There you go. We'll be
going
good.
forward. This will not be happening, I promise.
But yeah, I mean, if you are the haves at the top, then you're kind of like, parity's a little overrated. I'd kind of prefer to just keep getting all our top 3 recruiting classes, and let's not mess with anything.
But we know that that's wrong to think like that.
Of course, in this era, Georgia is as well positioned as anyone to consistently compete for national titles. So no one's crying, like we said, about no one's feeling bad for Georgia about their few recruiting losses out there on the trail. They still got a few wins.
When Georgia,
I think the wins still outweigh the losses.
Georgia doesn't get the number 1 offensive lineman 1 year, and then it's like, is Georgia struggling with recruiting? Like, no.
And we don't get the second ranked defensive lineman in the country last year. It's like, but we did get the first ranked one, and we're upset about it.
Yeah, it's
but I do feel like Justice Terry and Elijah Pritchett. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was confusing it with a lineman went to Alabama a couple years ago. Elijah Pritchett is his name?
Elijah, are you thinking of Elijah Griffin?
Elijah Griffin. Elijah Pritchett was what I was convincing. That was the offensive lineman for Alabama.
Yeah, okay. The guy,
I think he was from Carver.
Dude, Elijah Griffin's already getting a lot of hype, man. That's a story for another time. But
yeah, that is a story. We'll have to talk about some of these impact freshmen. Well, I'm excited about Elijah Griffin for sure.
I cannot wait.
I'd be more excited about Elijah Griffin and Justice Terry, but we'll take our wins. We'll take our wins where we can.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but some defensive lineman who just graduated, I'm pretty sure it was Warren Brinson, like outright compared to he compared Elijah Griffin to Jalen Carter. And so I don't know, man. That sounds good to me on the field.
I'm here for it. My take, my feelings on Jalen Carter, man. He's one of those I'm not going to compare anyone to until I see it. Like, I'm not comparing anyone to Brock Bowers. Like that type. I think that highly of Jalen Carter, but I will gladly welcome Jalen Carter 2.0 if we have him in Athens right now. Number 92, great defensive lineman number.
Yeah.
All right, Bo. Anything else for you, sir? I think this is all I got for today.
Yeah, I think so too. But we'll be back maybe soon.
Also, one thing you mentioned before the show, last thing, I think Georgia will they now have a starting 5 that you could get if you were playing NBA 2K with Asa Newell going to get drafted later this week?
Asa Newell, I don't think they have a starting also it's
I'm saying like 5 people. Like, do we have 5 guys in the league? KCP, Anthony Edwards.
KCP's in the NBA, obviously Anthony Edwards, and then Pete Newell. It depends on if you count Tumani Kamara.
The dude from Brooklyn.
Nick Claxton. Yes.
Claxton.
Yeah.
So is it just 4? And
it's
Tumani
4,
Kamara would be the 5th?
But you could make, if you count Tumani Kamara, because he did play there for 2 years, yes, you would have 5. Wow. Yeah. And I don't think there's anybody else from Georgia in the NBA. Like, there's not. So
yeah, if I was building a team on 2K, I would count it. I've done that on Madden years ago. Build your all Georgia team, which would probably be a lot more fun to do right now.
No, it'd be insane now. Yeah,
than it was years ago.
Yeah, I was doing it like 2013. I don't even play Madden anymore because the game's awful. But I should do that.
Yeah, you're like do we count Justin Fields? I don't know. We kind of need a QB here. Oh yeah, obviously. Now we got enough. We got
Yeah.
Stafford, Stetson, and Fromm. We got a 3 deep, but there wasn't always a time though. I had to claim. I think they had to claim Quincy Carter back when I was
Oh
back when
yeah.
I was doing it.
Quincy
Bad back in
Carter.
the day. Obviously, we claimed Quincy Carter. You're not proud to have him as your starting
He just
quarterback by
wasn't
any
very
means
good.
on an NFL team. But yeah, it's the days of Shandon Anderson, of Jarvis Hayes. I think those are long
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
Maybe we'll get a 5th guy in the NBA.
I think they probably will. There's I think Santo Surreal on the team right now has a real chance if he can expand his offensive bag a little bit. I think he could get drafted because he has a special ability on defense that I've not really seen in a Georgia player. Like he's pretty cool. Shout out to Santo.
Yeah, if he expands his offensive game a little bit, he might be a lottery pick. Honestly, I think he
And
might
like
have to do a lot of it.
he's so athletic that he already is. He's a pretty good lob threat on offense. Now Georgia didn't really have anybody who could throw him lobs that well consistently last year, but his athleticism gives him that at least as a floor. But if he can just develop a post game a little bit, maybe some semblance of a jump shot, like I think he could be drafted, and he might not even need to develop that well to be drafted because he made some plays that I've literally never seen a Georgia basketball player make last year.
Yeah, I could definitely see him getting drafted just on that ridiculous upside. Like he's a ridiculous athlete. But we had such a good point guard, Silas Demery, that had a good into.
He wasn't the best lob passer in the world. Like he was a good player overall for sure, but like his specialty was not seeing lobs before they happen and stuff. You need a Trae Young.
Not a true facilitator.
Yeah. Like if Severe Wheeler had played with Santos Surreal, he would have got busy. But
Severe Wheeler, just another guy who's George has a stepping stone to a better college basketball program.
He didn't really make it in the pro. I don't know where he's playing now, but he was just too short, man.
Yeah. Yeah, JJ Frazier, he never made
it. He played overseas for a while, but he was also just too small. Yeah. Yonte Mayton made it for a while with the Miami Heat, actually. I never really played a ton, but he was in the league for a while.
And Leslie and Tom, that's one of my thing I hated was Travis Leslie and Trey Tompkins both went to the draft early. Were both like 2nd round picks.
They flamed out.
Were they both drafted? I think they were both drafted, right?
I don't even know if they both.
And that was the year before KCP was going to be there. It's like those guys come back with KCP in the mix. Georgia could have had a good basketball team, but you know, thus is the story of college basketball and Mark Fox. I think Texas had a period there of getting like one and dones where they could have had like KD and LaMarcus Aldridge and a bunch of dudes.
But they were fine. They knew they weren't keeping any of those guys for more than a year.
Yeah. But that's all I got for this week's show, sir. We'll be, like we said, next Tuesday. We'll do a little Texas crossover show, 8:00. And it'll be a lot of fun. Get to know our foe, our SEC championship, maybe an SEC championship rematch or something. But until next time, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.